Hello, hello. Welcome to Trendy with Kim Allison. And of course, I'm Kim Allison. Today's guest, Nina Tulio. She was so easy because she's a pro. She has her own podcast that she's had for 5 years. And literally, we did not talk about it on the show, I don't think. And if we did, it's at the end, y'all, because my brain hurts. It's been a really, really busy week. But again, thank you for tuning in. I think you will get all of the business insight that you need, the encouragement, the motivation. She's more of I would liken her to a motivational coach slash financial coach. So Tony Robbins meets, I don't know, Susie Orman, if you will. But she's had her ups and her downs, failures and successes. I think her story will resonate and inspire you. And again, thank you for likes, comments, subscriptions, reviews. I'm starting to see everything unfold, come into fruition. I'm so excited and I appreciate you listening. Okay, enjoy the show. Welcome to another episode of Trendy with Kim Allison, where I connect with some of the most inspiring beauty professionals in our industry. Today, I'm thrilled to welcome Nina Tulio to the show. With her years of salon experience and her passion for business, Nina is all about empowering beauty professionals to take charge of their careers, build financial success, and create balance in their lives. So, are you ready to get inspired, everybody? Let's get inspired. Nina, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here and I can't wait to dive into some of these topics.
Yes, let's do this. So, first, I want to ask you, Nina, how did you find hair or how did hair find you?
You know, what's interesting. I knew I wanted to, well, I had two choices. I wanted to be a hairstylist or I wanted to be a dolphin trainer. So
Hilarious.
very vastly different. And when I found out that I had to go to college for 4 years and share dorms and do all the things, I was like, no, not for me. Absolutely not. I wasn't a good student in school. I wasn't, it was hard for me to like study and just get into school, but I really love doing hair. And so when I was in ninth grade, I was the first person to sign up for my Votech class. So in 10th grade, I started Votech, and here we are 27 years later.
Oh, wow. I often wonder because a lot of us, we have the same story in that
Hmm.
we just, we tried college. We are intelligent in our own right, but for whatever reason, it just didn't stick. So I wonder what I don't know. I always wonder like what are we made of where we
Yeah.
kind of just gravitate toward just being creative.
I mean, I think we're just creative humans that want to serve, and we get so much fulfillment from helping other people look and feel beautiful. I mean, that's the commonality I think that I've learned over the years and years of meeting people, interviewing people. And that's what I think it really just lives within us to really serve other people. And we get to do that daily and help them like really feel good about themselves, which is awesome.
No, I think that's a great answer. What inspired you to create Make That Money and how has it impacted salon owners and stylists?
So Make That Money was created during COVID because there was such a need for business. And I was already, you know, I'm doing this is like my second career in this business because I'm a former commission salon owner and former hairstylist. And when I sold my salon in 2016, I wanted to help serve the salon owners because I felt like it was very lonely, to be an owner and I didn't have anyone, to turn to when I needed like support. So I was I started my coaching business in 2017, but then when COVID hit, it exploded because people were really interested in learning more about their numbers and finances and business and focusing on that side of the business. So Make That Money was born for the independent artist during that time. And it purely is focusing on budgeting, profit, pricing. And there's some other things in there too, but it has my two-part signature worksheet, which really helps people get their pricing on point but also understanding how to allocate money and how to make more profit in their business. And that same year, I also rolled out Synergy, which is a similar course, but also very rooted in leadership and culture. And then with the finance portion attached to it as well. And Synergy was rolled out in 2020 as well to help serve the commission owner. So I live in two lanes because the budgeting and the profit margin is completely different for the independent artist as it is for the commission owner. So I really have to speak differently to those two groups of people.
Yes, that makes sense. And back me up a little bit. Did you owned a salon
Mhm.
and then you shifted your focus to coaching. So was that just a smooth transition from one to the other? Did you close your salon? Think about it some. Did they cross over? Like how did that come about?
So I started to think about wanting to be more of an educator and business education, which really wasn't big when I was thinking about it. This was back in 2014. So there were big, there were business educators, but it wasn't at the forefront like it is now. And so 2014, I really started to think about it. And then 2016, so within those 2 years, I positioned my business to sell. So I sold my business in 2016. And it wasn't smooth. It was hard, just like starting any business, it's
Mhm.
hard to start a business. And no one knew me. I didn't have a salon anymore that I was attached to. My husband and I moved from Pennsylvania to Connecticut for his job. So I didn't know anybody. I was really removed from my element. I didn't have my friends. I didn't have my team. It was really a tough situation. I went through a big, like soul searching when I sold my salon. So it took a few months to myself. And then in 2017 is when I really started this independent education journey. And it's kind of been the first 3, 4 years was pretty rough. And then once COVID hit, it was when people were like, wait a minute, we need you. We need to talk
Yeah.
about business. And we want to learn from someone who has done it, who has been a salon owner, who's been in the trench, because I went broke not once, but twice. I really struggled for the first 5 years as a salon owner. So I think people really they gravitated toward me because I was real and honest and authentic about sharing the mistakes that I made in my business.
Yes, and I love that because now, to your point, it is saturated. It is
Mhm.
almost overly saturated with coaching and
Mhm.
all the stories, right? Because we all have one. But it sounds like you were one of the pioneers, really, for us. Like you started before the boom, which is amazing. Do you find it challenging to compete with some of the other brands, or do you hold your own?
Well, so I like to think that we have people like Gino Stampora and Michael Cole who have been talking about business for so long, right? That's part of their mission and their journey. And Gino was one of the reasons why I wanted to become a speaker. And so I feel like in terms of, you mentioned about being a pioneer, I feel like there were other people talking about business, but I really went in the lane of pricing and profit. Like that was, and that is continues to still be my lane. And so, I think I don't look at what anybody else is doing except what I'm doing. That's all that I'm concerned about. I am there to serve people, and I really look within a lot to make sure that I check in with myself, that I'm aligned still with my core values of my own business, and I'm always going to show up 100% me. So yes, there's a lot of noise and a lot of stuff that's going on, and there are people popping up left and right, and that's great. It's amazing,
Yeah.
right? It's great to have options in terms of who you can choose to be your coach. But I think, I just don't worry about what they're doing because I have to live in my own truth and share my message through my truth. That's where I think the connection comes from. So great for them. I love that. I love that we have options, but I just can't get consumed with what's going on over here. I need to stay into what I'm talking about and stay true to myself.
I agree. I use that same philosophy. We have to, right? As hairdressers, how many hairdressers are there in the world?
Sure.
Gazillions. So
Mhm.
you can't really worry about who's not in your chair. You have to focus on the ones who are. Yeah. As a business educator ambassador for Oligo
Mhm.
Professional, what initiatives are you lending to? Are you what initiatives are you leading to support beauty professionals for the
So the
company?
Yeah, the great thing with working with Oligo Professional, and I've been with them over 4 years now, and they're amazing in so many ways, but I have to say they allow me to be me. They take in a lot of what I am interested in talking about, and they trust me in the way that I'm keeping my pulse on what's happening in the industry in terms of business. We're very aligned in our own core values and wanting to continue to serve the hairstylist and salon owner. And so, we've worked together for the past 4 years to put a heavy emphasis on business education. Oligo is a color brand, right? They don't have to lean into business education, right? They have award-winning color. Their Colora Gloss is an award-winning color line. So why would we want to do this? But they're so open to making sure that the stylist is continuing to be served, not only just technically, but also growing their business overall. So with some of the things that we've been working on, it's like rolling out an ebook that's all business. We did that last year, and we're updating it, and soon we'll have a new edition of that. We have over 40 business education videos on their website, oligopro.com, that you can binge for free. There is business education happening in Salon, in real time, with distributors we're working with. They're putting, like, that's how I met you, right? In Phoenix, working with Jay, and,
Mhm.
him doing the color side and me doing the business. They understand the importance of it and the impact. And so we're just continuing to work together and thinking how we can continue to elevate the industry by not only infusing amazing, innovative color, but also putting a business side to it and kind of rolling them out, side by side.
Yeah, I think that's smart for a brand to business focus just the same as they do product production,
Hmm.
because you have to be able to afford the product to be able
Sure.
to afford the classes and all
Yeah.
that encompasses being a hairdresser. So if you don't know your numbers, it makes sense, right? To well round your company that way. So
Hmm.
that's smart. I like it. How do you balance, Nina, personal development and self care with business growth in your coaching approach? Because I know you talk about self care. I
Hmm.
remember that, or self care. I remember that being in your class, being a focal point, just as well as, having financial success.
Sure. I think, and I'm always transparent about this, I'm not the best when it comes to balance because I grind. I have been working on growing this business for 8 years and I'm still grinding. I'm still working 12-hour days sometimes because I have to. I pick and choose. I do have balance. I don't work weekends. I don't take clients at night, right? I do have some boundaries there. But when it comes to my coaching approach, it really is making sure that my clients are doing the most for their business, but they're not compromising self. I think it is finding that balance where it's like, hey, if you're a new business and you've been open 1, 2, 3 years, you're going to grind. You're going to be working all the days. You're going to be doing all the things you have to in a new business. It's just part of being a business owner, not only in our industry, but any business. But then it's kind of like, okay, we can't go too far where we're completely burned out and we can't serve our teams, right? So we have to start to implement some boundaries here where you're taking time off. You're taking time to unplug. Maybe you're taking time to unplug from social media. You're not
Yeah.
answering texts or any DMs or emails on Saturdays and Sundays after you leave the salon on a Saturday, right? So there are things that we talk about, but also I work with them on their own goals. I do January planning sessions with all of my coaching clients and we roll this out and it's all business focused, but we also have a portion that we're focusing on themselves. Like, how much time do you want to take off? What is something that really excites you? Do you want to take more vacations? How do you want to cut back a little bit so you can focus more on the business as opposed to working in it? So there is a lot of weaving in and out, but I don't agree with hustle culture, but I do agree with hard work culture. And I feel like no matter what, if you want to start a business, you're going to work hard, period. And if you want to sustain that business, you're still going to have to work hard, right? You have to kind of scale up to scale back. So I think even though I'm 8 years in, I'm still scaling my business. So I got to work. sometimes, at night. I have to work longer days, it just is kind of part of the thing, part of the gig. But we do have to like take a rest, and we do have to kind of refresh, which I'm still learning myself, honestly,
Yeah.
how to do that.
Yeah, hustle and hard work. I like how you phrase that because they are different.
Mhm.
Because you have people that will hustle their whole lives and still be broke.
Mhm.
That's very different than working hard for what you've earned and what made you successful. Because I'm from a family of entrepreneurs. My husband is, he says, so when I'm done working, what do I do?
Mhm.
You know what I mean? He says, I'm always going to work, whether
Mm.
we have to or not.
Mhm.
It's just, we're just wired that way.
Yeah.
You're always going to work and and it's not a negative thing in our house.
Right. No, I completely understand, and I think, with hard work,
Yeah.
it's more strategic. You
Correct.
have a goal in place and you have a plan in place that will allow you to work hard because you're working towards something, you're working toward results, as opposed to just like this hustle, hustle up all day, all night, all day, all night. Well, okay, well, just because you're taking action and you're active doesn't mean you're productive. There's two different things there.
Very much so. What common challenges do salon owners face today, and how do you advise overcoming those challenges?
The two biggest things right now for salon owners is recruiting and bringing on talent. That has been a challenge for years and years and years, but it has gotten a lot harder since COVID. And when it comes to recruiting and onboarding and training, those are things. The onboarding and training sometimes I feel like it's overlooked, and we have to create systems around that. But first, before you even bring people on, you have to know who you are, who you serve, and how you serve them better than anyone else. And serving only comes not, we're not only talking about serving the client, I'm also talking about serving the team.
Mhm.
So, you have to know what your brand is, what you stand for, what your mission is, and what your values are first. That's how we start to attract people, because
Yes.
stylists want to be a part of something that's bigger than themselves. But if we don't have a brand that's cohesive and people don't know what they're coming in to do and what they're a part of, they just kind of do their own thing. Right. So that's one challenge. And then also, with stylists wanting to leave and go on their own, that's a whole other thing that's opened up over the last, I'd say, probably 4 or 5 years. And so, how can commissions salon owners keep people? And I work a lot with owners on doing that. And here's the thing: you've got to be a strong leader, you've got to be a fair leader, you have to lead with empathy, and kindness. And you have to be a coach, and coaching people to their own goals and dreams and not to your goals and dreams. So there has to be consistent growth. People want opportunity. They want to know how they're going to make more money. And money's not actually the only thing they're looking for. So how can we keep people happy? They want to be with us in a salon culture that is psychologically safe, that is focused on recognition, focused on growth, and a team environment where people can really be themselves. But also, people do want structure, even though people say they don't, but they do. They want a little bit of that structure. But I say, flexible structure. Those are the two I think would be the most now with salon owners.
I get what you're saying, and I think some brands they just get it right. For
Hmm.
example, Tony and Guy, where I came from, I wanted to wear those white clothes. I wanted
Hmm.
to be a part of that community. It just drew me in. It didn't matter what we were getting paid. It didn't matter the commission split, all the politics and nuances until it did matter, right?
Right.
We
Right.
all left at some point. But you know what I'm saying? They knew what to do, how to do it. And we all have that innate feeling of that longing to belong to
Hmm.
something. We all have it, and if you use the tools that you provide correctly, you can grow a business where you actually keep people. I've talked to a couple of stylists that have been working at their salons for over 20 years, which
Hmm.
I find fascinating.
Hmm.
First, that you had a salon, that you have a salon for 20 plus years.
Yeah.
Second, that you can retain your stylist. So you're doing something right if you have that going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes. Which is great.
Yeah. Can you discuss the importance of understanding financials and running a successful salon business? Just to reiterate before we move on to our next question.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business,
Oh, I love
period.
that phrase.
End of story, and that's from Marcus Lemonis, and I love him and his show,
Yeah.
and the Prophet guy. I can't remember what show he's on to next, but the Fixer maybe. I love his philosophies. I love how he leads. But I remember watching all of his shows, and he said that, and I'm like, that is so true. If you don't know the numbers will always tell the story of your business. So every month you should be pulling a profit and loss report to see what's coming in, what's going out in expenses, and what your net profit is, so you know what to put aside for taxes. And I think that we get so busy with the operational day-to-day operations of the business that we forget that we're actually running businesses. We need to know what our average ticket is. We need to know what our frequency of visit is. We need to know what our volume is in our business, how many new clients we're seeing. All of the things are retention, things that are so important. But when you're an owner and you're working behind the chair every day, I worked behind the chair every day. I worked 6 days a week for a while. But you have to kind of transition a little bit where you don't have to step away from the chair completely, but you've got to carve out time where you're actually spending time to work on it, because it will be ever consuming. So I always say, just keep it simple. And if you can look at a profit and loss statement every single month and reevaluate that, that's a really, really great start.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. When I met my husband 7 years ago now, he was like, "How did you think you were going to retire? Like, what were you?" I'm like, "I don't even know." I mean, I was
Mhm.
one of those people, it just, you don't realize how fast time goes, and you don't realize,
Yes.
it's now tax time again. So
Mhm.
if you're one that hasn't been tracking your expenses, paying your quarterlies,
Mhm.
here you are again, right?
Yeah.
Another year has passed just like that. So,
I feel like
yeah,
it's
I
tax
love that.
season every month. I feel like tax season is every month. It, like,
It
never
should be
ends.
in your brain,
Yeah.
and,
Yeah, for sure.
you should always be able to pull up that P&L on command if you
Mhm.
have everything together as you should, right? So,
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
I think we could all use that for sure. How's the bus or how I guess I'm curious, how has the beauty industry evolved over your career, and what trends do you foresee?
Oh, man, how it's evolved. Wow. I mean, I could have a whole 30-minute conversation on that. I mean, it's changed so much in the fact that, I feel like because we've taken the business side so seriously over the last 4 years, people are taking us more seriously.
Mhm.
When we start to respect ourselves and we start to run our businesses like businesses, people start to pay attention to that. And so I always talk about, we can't expect clients to respect us until we start respecting ourselves. And so I feel like we've gotten more firm on boundaries. We've gotten stronger when it comes to our communication. We've started to pay attention to pricing and profit and price per minute and all the things that I've been talking about for the last 8 years. And, we're taking it seriously. And so I think that has changed. And also what's changed is, like, before, 5-10 years ago, we could get away with running a business and not having a strong brand and not having a strong culture. Like, we could kind of skim by if we
Yes.
wanted to. But now, because of social media, everything is so exposed that you can't really get away with that anymore. Like, you have to be strong in your leadership. You have to be strong in your culture. You have to be open to change. That's the biggest thing. You can't run your business like you did 10 years ago. You have to be open to change. And so, because social media has opened the door for everything to be exposed, salon stylists are more educated coming out of school. In terms of, what I mean by that is, they know what they want, they know where they want to work, they know what they're looking for, they know how much they want to work, they know how much they want to make, like, they're ready. And so salon owners have had to elevate in terms of being able to accommodate in that way, being flexible a little bit more. And I think in terms of trends, like, I said this probably a year and a half ago, because there were so many people going to suites and going into booth rent. I said to my owners, hang tight, because there's going to be a shift where suite owners and renters are going to come into this commission space. And it's
Mhm.
happening. It's happening now where that is reality. And, I think that is probably the most current thing that's really going on is that shift is happening where there were a lot of people getting out of school, going out on their own immediately, going independent. And I think we're going to start to see that less and less. I think the commission space is going to start to see a little bit of a surge of people coming right from school, going into the commission space as assistants and as associates, and not necessarily jumping right into being an independent right away.
Yeah, I agree. I just interviewed a new hairdresser because that's who I created this show for, the next
Mhm.
generation. And he said, yes, I got too big for my britches. I jumped out there. I started with the big salon, left too early, and now he's back, you know?
Mm,
And
mhm.
so, and they welcomed him with open arms.
Great.
And I think to your point, that salon suite culture, it took off like wildfire. But I think it also made people think that they could run a business when they really had no business even trying at that stage of their career. And it
It's a
really,
lot.
yeah, and I don't think it matters what stage of you are in your career. Not
Sure.
everyone is a business owner.
Mhm.
Not everyone knows or wants to run a business.
Sure.
And you're kind of
Absolutely.
forced to when you go into a salon suite. What role, Nina, do you think social media plays in building a salon's brand? And what strategies are you recommending?
Well, I think we're over social media right now. I think social media has become very cumbersome and very
Ah,
overwhelming. I
yeah.
think a lot of people have a love-hate relationship with social, as do I. I think social media can be incredibly powerful if used in the right way to help get your brand exposure
Mm,
at very minimal cost,
yeah.
right? So there is a lot of pluses when it comes to using social media. However, it's become so saturated that
Yes.
it's hard to stand out. So it's causing people to really elevate in terms of their content, right? So I think what's happening is that people are like, wait a minute, my clients don't even live on social media. Why am I spending all this time on IG when uh, Barbara isn't even on IG?
Yeah.
Right? Like, why am I doing this to myself if my clients don't live in this space? And
Right.
it can be so lucrative. And I know businesses have grown, stylists and salon owners have grown their business through social media, but I think that's shifted. I think we're going back to the grassroots of building relationships and doing
Mhm.
more referrals and leaning into Google reviews and business to business
Yeah.
partnerships, which is what I talked about at our class in Phoenix. And, I think it's important to lean into those areas and understand that social media is important for your business, but it is not the end all be all when it comes to attracting clients that matter for your business.
Yes, I agree with you. And what I've seen lately on social media is full on acting, like,
Mhm.
being, doing full on reenactments in the salon, like
Mhm.
entertainment. And I thought, oh gosh, I can't. I just, if you have to start doing that, then you need to get paid more. You need to get paid,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah, entertainment is a big piece of social media. I think, there's education, there's entertainment, there's inspiration, there's different areas. And those are the areas that I kind of want to live in too, in terms of how I'm sharing information. People want to be entertained. Like for me with business education, like people think business education is boring. I try to make
right,
it fun and interactive and, make it a little bit entertaining. But again, not every I'm a dancer. I'm actually a trained dancer. So
oh, really?
that's why I like to dance on my TikTok and my Instagram because that's part of who I am. But a lot of people are not dancers and they feel weird about showing up and dancing on their IG. If that doesn't align with you and that's not in your core values and in your brand voice, then don't do that. Find things that matter to you and align with you and then show up. But like if your brand personality is fun and cheeky and cute, then maybe there are some things that in voiceovers that you can have fun with. I think people try too much to be like other people, and that's where they get lost. You've got to really stay again in your lane and stay true to who you are because that's how you find your people. When you are aligned with you and you are true to that. It's like we get lost when we try to like, I see this person over here doing that. Oh, that
Yeah.
looks good. Their brand is popping off. So let me do that. Well, their brand is completely different than yours.
Exactly.
So it's not going to make sense, right?
Right. Yeah. And I think too, the platforms themselves have a lot to do with that because they control you by the algorithm, right?
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
they say, well, you must use this song, you must do
Yeah.
this challenge,
Yeah.
or we won't push your content out
Sure.
there. So you think, okay, well, I guess I got to be doing that, but it doesn't work. And
Yeah.
I think in the end, people want authenticity
Hmm.
and that's how they really connect with a person.
1,000,000%. Amen.
Yeah. Can you share a success story from your coaching experience that stands out to you? Like, do you
Oh my
have like
gosh.
a star where you're like, oh my gosh, this hit home?
I have a couple of them actually. My coaching clients, and the majority of them have been with me 3, 4, 5 years. They have been working so incredibly hard on their businesses. They are so dedicated to their teams. And, there are a few that stick out to me. But one I would say is one of my coaching clients, when we first started working together, maybe in 2020, she was doing $18,000 a month in revenue. And now she's doing $78,000 a month in revenue. And, her profit margin was 1%. And now, it's upward of, I'm trying to think of how her profit went. I think it's 12%, maybe 15, maybe 12%. It varies when they pay themselves on payroll. So, there's another coaching client that was doing, you know, $8,000 a week when we first started working together. And now she's also doing close to 70 grand a month. So what is that a week now? Because we always talk about that $8,000 a week. So if they're doing 70,000, doing about
Oh,
seven,
so,
seventeen
for
five, 17,500 a week
yeah.
from 8,000 a week, and not only that, so it's not only the financial side, but and those are just two. And I have a bunch of them that have their businesses have grown significantly. But the most important thing is that they have grown. They
Yes.
have grown as people. And so for me to be able to witness that actually makes me emotional, to be able to be a part of that, just witness what they have done and what they've accomplished and how they've grown and how they've gone from, not all of them were struggling, but from some of them maybe struggling financially now to being able to bring in money and feel secure financially. That is what makes me show up every day. That is, you know, teaching classes and being in front of people like you and seeing people every day have aha moments in class, working with clients, my students, like having them message me and say, just by what you said to me yesterday changed my whole perception or perspective on my business. Like, that's the shit that keeps me showing up every day. And I'm just so grateful that I get to do what I love with people that I love. And I get to be just a small little part, in their journey and witnessing that. It's very
Wow,
humbling.
I see your passion,
Hmm.
and I'm sure they all feel that because it's screaming across the screen at me right now. So that's amazing. Those are real results, and
Hmm.
I think in the end, people are so tired of being duped.
Yeah.
That's all they want. They
Yeah.
want real, like who's real? That's the
Hmm.
part about social media I find to be the most frustrating
Yeah.
is the facade of it all.
Sure. Yeah. And people are tired of paying a lot for education or a lot for coaching and not getting the value that they're paying for. Now, when people sign up for coaching, I'm not guaranteeing them results because they got to put the work in. You know what I mean? I can tell them and show them to do all the things, but if they don't want to do even a quarter of what I'm asking them to do, they're
Yeah.
not going to see results, right? And I'm not even asking them to do everything. But the owners that are doing well, and even independents, I work with a lot of independents too, they have put in the work and they have never taken their eye off the team. They've never taken their eye off the end result. And they have done whatever they have to do. And just the commitment to themselves has been actually quite admirable. I admire them for being so committed to their businesses.
No, you're right, and I love analogies, and it's just like in the fitness world. If you're a personal trainer, you can't make someone eat right or
Mhm.
actually put 100% effort into the movements, right?
Sure.
So you can only do so much.
Yeah.
But you're right. It's the person that comes from within. You have to want it. I can't want it for you more than you want it for yourself.
Right. I think it helps them though, seeing that they have someone in their corner that
Yeah.
understands and that is there for them. They can email me anytime, they can message me, and I will always respond. I mean, I've had coaching clients that I worked with, maybe for a year or two, and then they just go on maintenance. Maybe I see them like once or twice a year. They can message me anytime. I'm always there for them. Students that I haven't maybe been in a program for a couple years, like, no, I got you. Like, that's part of what I want to do, is to make sure that people know that I'm here to support them, So that's part of where my boundaries come in too, because I want to make sure that I'm answering everybody and I answer all of my DMs, because I feel like it can be a little bit lonely and a little bit scary running a business, especially now, so I want to make sure people know that I'm there to support them.
No, I love that. Accountability. We all
Hmm.
need that in some
Yeah,
way, don't we?
sure.
So for you, Nina, we talk about balance. We talk about how hard you work. How do you stay motivated and where you want to continue to inspire others in the beauty industry? How do you stay motivated wanting to do that? Because you said you answer every single DM.
Hmm.
People, they have lifetime access to you, whether they are a former or active student.
Hmm.
So, how do you stay motivated? Is it just that I do you know what I'm saying? If I think
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
20 years from now,
Hmm. I mean, the answer is very simple. I stay motivated because I am highly connected to my why. And my why are people like you. My why, that's my coaching clients. My why is everyone that follows me on Instagram. So when I stay so connected to that why, and I know that my mission and my purpose, I was put on this earth to serve this industry. Period. So if there's any a day when I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. Oh, I got to get on a plane because I had a very high fear of flying, and I fly like 3 times a month. You know, I keep sitting to I think to myself when I'm sitting down and I say, you have to show up for these people. There are people who purchase tickets to come and see you. You better show up for them. You
yes.
know what I mean? Like, there's a higher
Mhm.
purpose and a higher passion that goes into what I do. So a lot of times we become burned out because we become disconnected from that why.
Yes.
And so I can't say that there are times that I'm not tired, but I don't necessarily get burned out because I'm so connected to my purpose. Yeah, I'm exhausted. Sure, I'm on planes a lot and I get tired and I'm older.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. But I'm
Well,
never
you look
feeling
12. I don't know
well.
how old you
Thank
are,
you.
but
Yeah, thank you.
you
I
look
wish
great.
listen, I wish I was in my 30s, but we're not. But yeah,
No.
I think, we've got to come from a space of like a real deep rooted why. And I think when we live in that space and we wholeheartedly believe in it, that's what keeps me motivated. That's what keeps me showing up every day. And, I have a coach. I hired a Tony Robbins coach and I've been working with him, and I take classes. And last year I took a Harvard Business School class. I'm going to take another one this year. I like to take education that's outside of the industry. So master class, I'm signed on with them for a couple of years. So I do master classes. I try to do a few a week. I try to keep myself educated. And so, yeah, it's just really you. That's it.
That
That's what
is
keeps me
real
showing
good.
up.
It is true, and me, I'm deeply rooted in my faith, and,
Yeah.
I do know my purpose and my why. I think we
Mhm.
all, are here for a reason to
Sure.
do what we are designed to do, and if you don't find it, then too bad. That's the sad part, you know? So it takes soul searching, it takes, focus and, self,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah. What future goals do you have cooking besides this collaboration? What
Y
other exciting things do you have in the works?
I'm excited for 2025 because I'm going to continue to just work on my mission, working with Oligo, obviously, doing a lot of travel with them, getting to be with and spend time with a lot more stylists and owners. I have my own event that I'm hosting next year in Des Moines, Iowa. and it's a full day of, we're doing 2 sessions, so a morning session for everyone and then an afternoon session that's just curated for the commission salon owner. That's happening in May. This is the first event that I'm doing um, on my own. I do have sponsors, but I'm doing that on my own, so I'm excited about that. And I want to be able to be more present.
Mm.
That's what kind of excites me, is like I get to travel to all of these places, but I don't really get to see much,
Right.
So I really want to be able to spend more time and just connect with more people. And, I've got some really cool things, like some collaborations coming up that I can't quite talk about yet, but I've got some really cool things in the works, and I'm just grateful that I get these opportunities.
Oh, I love those ones you can't talk about. That means they're huge.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, I'm
Yeah.
happy for you for those.
Thank you.
I love that for you.
Thank
So
you.
before we wrap this up, thank you so much for coming on once
Of
again.
course. My
But
pleasure.
before we wrap, remind people why they should be concerned about retirement, no matter what your age, right? And how important it is to act sooner than later.
Yeah, well, this was another area that I didn't do well in, and again, learning from my mistakes. I
Yes.
think o- my goal is always to have the hairstylist say, when I'm whatever, 60, 65, I want to continue to work behind the chair, not I have to continue to work behind the chair. And I think the sooner you start to, meet with financial advisors and have a CPA that really is looking out for you, you can start small and just put little bits of money away every week. And that would, multiply as far as, when you become 60, 65 years old, right? So I think starting now small is better than not starting at all. And, if it wasn't because I got myself in a lot of debt, I made a lot of financial mistakes. And, my husband's helped me a lot to really realize that, your body's going to break down. You're not going to be able to do hair all this time. And I used to tell my team the same thing, like, we've got to start thinking bigger picture. And so start to set yourself up to win now. And even if you're in your 40s like me, like, it's never too late to start to plan for your future, because we are the only ones that can do that. We're not corporations where we have IRAs and things that are being contributed on our behalf. We have to do that on our own. So I'd say everything in moderation. Start small now and start to really think about your financial future so you can choose whether you want to work behind the chair, and you don't have to work behind the chair.
Oh, that's great advice. And me, I'm right where what you just described is me. I am 57. I wish I was in
What?
my 40s still.
50? Oh my goodness. I thought you look like your skin is like a baby's skin.
Well,
Gorgeous.
you're seeing me across the screen, like, but I work now. This project, this show was for me to keep myself doing something that I love. And one of
Mhm.
the best parts of being a hairdresser for the last 29 years are the conversations. And so the fact that I get to do this is just my way of staying in the industry. I still work behind the chair,
Mhm.
but I work behind the chair now, thanks to my hubby getting me back on track and having
Mhm.
my back, because I want to, not because I have to. And that is a good feeling,
Yes.
because I'm not ready to leave my clients and those conversations and those
Yes.
just, I mean, we become friends and you get invites and you're in the know, and I'm just not
Mhm.
ready to leave that yet.
Yeah,
So,
well, good for you. You gotta listen to yourself. That's
oh
awesome.
yeah, 1000%. Thank you, Nina. I have taken up your time because I know you are a busy bee. So before we go, I am going to hit you with some rapid fire questions that you don't
Ooh.
know.
Okay.
That some have something to do with your business, but most probably have nothing to do with your business.
Okay, sweet. I love this.
Yeah, I call it the 60-second blowout. And
Okay.
that was
Shit, okay.
that was the corny me. I gotta be corny somewhere because that's my favorite thing. So let me, bring this timer in real quick that I forgot
Sweet.
to, load up, and, we'll get to it.
Love it.
Finally.
This is
Where are we
great.
at?
And thank
Yes.
you again for having me. It's
Oh my gosh, you were amazing.
Thank
You know
you.
your stuff. That
Thank
is,
you.
and again, this is to help and inspire the next generation of hair and even today's hairdresser
Mhm.
and beauty professional in general. This show is not just for hairdressers, although that's my specialty. So that's who I have mostly, but it can
Right.
be, I've had nail techs, makeup artists, you name it. I think that we all kind of do the same thing in the
Yeah.
end. All right. Let's see how well you know yourself.
Ooh,
Most
okay.
people don't get through all of my questions,
Okay.
but we'll see.
All right,
Okay.
let's do it.
What's your go to coffee or tea order?
Oh, you know what? I don't drink coffee, but if I had to drink some tea, it would be Earl Grey.
Okay. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Listen to your gut.
Name one book or podcast that changed your perspective recently.
Ooh, my goodness. Oh, book or podcast. I would say I would lean into the master class. I listened to Mark Cuban's master class a few weeks
Perfect.
ago.
What's your guilty pleasure when you need to unwind?
French fries.
What's one thing you never leave the house without?
My Patrick Ta lip gloss.
What's your favorite part about working with hairstylist?
Oh, the passion and the love and the support and the camaraderie.
Instagram or TikTok? Where do you spend most of your time?
Oh, Instagram.
If you weren't in the beauty industry, what career would you choose?
I think I would be like a secret service or something.
I could see that. What's your favorite travel destination?
Ooh, Cape May, New Jersey.
I love that. We're out of time, but I want to know the other answers. So I'm going
Okay.
to ask you anyway. Are you a morning person or a night owl?
I'm a morning person.
What's one business tool or app you can't live without?
Business tool or app, I would say CapCut.
Who would play you in a movie about your life?
Oh my goodness. Boy, that's a tough one. I don't know. I can't. I don't
Mm,
know. I got to circle back on that one.
yeah. What's one thing you wish more hairstylists understood about running a business?
I think I just wish that they would understand how valuable they are and how to feel confident in the way that they price their services.
Perfect. And lastly, if you could snap your fingers and master one new skill instantly, what would that be?
Master one new skill instantly. I would, you know what? Maybe baking.
Ah,
Yeah, I can cook, but I'm not great with baking. So maybe that. I've been getting into it now on TikTok. So
oh yeah, TikTok is good for that. And
it's,
I'm the
whew.
opposite of you. I'm not good at cooking. I cook very basic and bland,
Mhm.
but I love to bake because I love
That's
sugar.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yes. Very interesting.
Yes. Well, thanks again for your time. I appreciate you, and I look forward to following your journey and seeing where you go from here. And I may even become a coaching student. Who knows? I love trying new things, meeting new people.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And thank you for having me on as a guest.
You're so welcome, and have an amazing week. Till next time. Bye.
Bye.